the crash. The last thing I remembered was fire. Fire and screaming and the terrible sound of metal tearing apart as my ship, the Event Horizon, plunged through an atmosphere it was never designed to enter. I had been a cargo pilot, nothing more, hauling supplies between Confederation outposts when a solar flare knocked out my navigation systems and sent me spiraling into uncharted space. Now I was here, wherever here was. I tried to open my eyes. They felt glued shut, heavy with some kind of residue. My body ached in ways I couldn't name, and when I tried to move my arms, they wouldn't respond. Panic flickered through my foggy mind. Am I paralyzed? Trapped? Dying? Slowly, painfully, I forced my eyes open. The ceiling above me was not the ceiling of my ship. It was stone, rough-hewn and ancient, covered in symbols I didn't recognize. A soft light emanated from somewhere to my left, casting long shadows across the room. I turned my head, a movement that cost me enormous effort, and looked around. I was in a bed. Not a medical bed, not a crash couch, but an actual bed with soft linens and a warm blanket. The room was small but comfortable, furnished with simple wooden furniture and lit by glowing crystals set into the walls. And in a chair beside my bed, watching me with eyes that reflected no light, sat a creature that should not exist. She was beautiful. That was my first thought before fear could take hold. Pale skin that seemed to glow in the dim light, features so perfect they hurt to look at, hair the color of midnight cascading over her shoulders. She wore a simple dark dress, and her hands were folded in her lap with an eerie stillness. But it was her eyes that held me. Deep purple, almost black, with pupils that expanded and contracted as she watched me. And in those eyes I saw hunger. Not the hunger of a predator eyeing prey. Something deeper. Something ancient. Something that had been waiting a very long time. "You're awake," she said. Her voice was soft, musical, and completely alien. I was beginning to wonder if you would ever open your eyes. I tried to speak, but my throat produced only a croak. She rose smoothly, pouring water from a pitcher into a cup, and held it to my lips. I drank greedily, the cool liquid soothing my ravaged throat. Where am I? I managed finally. What happened to my ship? Who are you? She returned to her chair, settling into it with the same unnatural grace. You are on my world. Your ship crashed in the mountains 3 days ago. I brought you here, to my home, to tend your injuries. You saved me? I preserved you. She tilted her head, studying me. There is a difference. A chill ran down my spine. What kind of difference? Instead of answering, she leaned forward slightly, and I saw them. 2 small points, almost hidden in the shadow of her upper lip. Fangs. Small, sharp, undeniably real. You know what I am, she said softly. You can feel it, can't you? The same fear your kind has always felt when facing mine. Vampire, I whispered. But that's a myth. That's Earth legend. You're an alien, you can't be. I am Xylian, she interrupted. My people have been called many things by many worlds. Vampire is simply the name your ancestors gave to beings like us, long ago, when a few of my kind visited your primitive Earth. She smiled, and the fangs caught the light. The legends are not entirely inaccurate. I tried to sit up, but my body still wouldn't cooperate. Are you going to kill me? Feed on me? If I wanted to do either, I would have done it while you slept. She settled back in her chair. No, human. I have been waiting for you to wake, because I have questions. And when you answer them, I will make you an offer. An offer? When you are stronger. She rose and moved toward the door. Rest now. We will talk more when your mind is clear. She paused at the threshold and looked back at me, her purple eyes gleaming in the dim light. My name is Seraphina.
You are safe in my home for now.
But know this, human. I have waited a very long time for someone like you. Do not make me wait longer. The door closed behind her, leaving me alone with my terror and my questions and the faint, lingering scent of her perfume in the air. The days of waiting. 3 more days passed, or what I assumed were days. Without windows, without sunlight, I had no way to measure time except by Seraphina's visits. She came twice each cycle, always at the same intervals. Morning and evening, if such concepts applied here. She brought food, strange fruits and cooked meats that tasted better than anything I'd eaten in years, and she asked questions. Endless questions. About Earth. About humanity. About the Confederation and the stars and the worlds we had colonized. She wanted to know everything, and she listened to my answers with an intensity that was almost frightening. Why do you care so much? I asked on the 5th day, as I sat up in bed for the first time, my strength slowly returning. You're an alien vampire living on a forgotten world. What does any of this matter to you? She was silent for a long moment, her purple eyes fixed on something I couldn't see. I am the last, she said finally. The last of my kind. My people are gone, dead, scattered, extinct. I have been alone for 3,000 years, waiting for the stars to bring someone new. Someone who could. She trailed off, and for the first time, I saw something other than hunger in her eyes. Loneliness. Deep, ancient, soul-crushing loneliness. Someone who could what? I pressed. Her gaze returned to me, and the vulnerability vanished, replaced by that same calculating stillness. Someone who could choose. What does that mean? Rest now. She rose abruptly and moved toward the door. Tomorrow, when you are stronger, I will explain everything. And you will make your choice. She left, and I stared at the closed door for a long time, my mind racing with possibilities, none of them good. The revelation. The next day, she led me out of the room for the first time. Her home was carved into the side of a mountain, a series of chambers and corridors that opened onto balconies overlooking a world of impossible beauty. Twin moons hung in a violet sky, and below, a city stretched toward the horizon, a city of towers and spires, elegant and silent. Empty. This was my world, Seraphina said softly, standing beside me on the balcony. The capital of the Xylian Empire. 3,000 years ago, it was the center of the galaxy. Now it is a tomb. What happened? A plague. A war. 1,000 small apocalypses that added up to extinction. She turned to face me, and in the moonlight, she looked almost fragile. My people could live forever, you see. We fed on the life force of other beings, sustaining ourselves indefinitely. But forever is a long time, and we grew careless. We grew arrogant. And when the end came, only I survived. Why you? Because I was young. Because I hid. Because I was too afraid to die with the rest. Her voice cracked slightly. I have spent 3,000 years alone, human. Watching the stars, waiting for someone to come. Anyone. And now you are here. She stepped closer, close enough that I could feel the cold radiating from her skin. I did not save you out of kindness, she continued. I saved you because you are the first living being I have encountered in centuries who might understand. Who might choose to stay. Stay? As what? Your pet? Your food source? As my companion. She reached out and touched my face, her fingers cold against my skin. I can give you what my people once gave their chosen ones. Immortality. Eternal life, sustained by the bond between us. You would never age, never sicken, never die. You would walk beside me through the stars forever. I stared at her, my heart pounding. And the cost. My people fed on the life force of others. But a bonded companion feeds with me. We would hunt together, survive together, live together. You would become like me. A vampire. She smiled. If you wish to use that word. I looked out at the dead city, the empty world, the endless loneliness stretching before us. I thought about my old life, the cargo runs, the lonely nights, the endless drifting between stars. I had been alone too, in my own way, not for millennia, but long enough to know how it felt. If I say no, I asked quietly, then I will return you to your people when the next ship passes through this system. It may be years, decades, but it will happen eventually. You will live out your natural life, and I will remain here. Her voice dropped to a whisper. Alone. I turned to face her fully, looking into those ancient, lonely eyes. And if I say yes? Her breath caught. Then everything changes.
The choice. I didn't answer that night.
I couldn't. I returned to my room and lay in the darkness, thinking about immortality, about eternity, about the terrible weight of never-ending time. But I also thought about Seraphina, about the loneliness in her eyes, about 3,000 years of silence, of waiting, of hoping for someone to share the endless nights. On the 7th day, I found her on the balcony, watching the twin moons rise. I have questions, I said. She turned, and for the first time, I saw hope flicker in those purple depths. Ask. If I become like you, will I still be me? Will I remember Earth, my life, who I was? You will remember everything. You will simply become more. Stronger, faster, immortal. Your memories will remain. And the feeding, the hunting. We hunt together, or not at all. I will teach you. You will never take a life unnecessarily, only what we need to survive, and only from those who would not otherwise live. I absorbed this, then asked the question that mattered most. If I stay, will I be alone, or will I have you? She crossed the distance between us and took my hands in hers. They were cold, but somehow comforting. You will have me, she whispered, for all the days and nights and centuries to come. You will have me, and I will have you, and neither of us will ever be alone again. I looked into her eyes and saw the truth there. No deception, no hunger, no hidden agenda. Just a being who had been alone too long, offering me the only thing she had left. Her eternity. Okay, I said. She blinked. Okay, I'll stay. I'll become what you are. I'll walk beside you through the stars. I squeezed her cold hands, because I know what it's like to be alone, and I wouldn't wish that on anyone, not even for immortality. For a long moment, she simply stared at me. Then, slowly, tears began to form in those ancient purple eyes. Tears that had not fallen in 3,000 years. Thank you, she whispered. Thank you for choosing me. The transformation. That night, under the light of twin moons, Seraphina performed the ritual that would bind us forever. She explained it carefully, the pain, the change, the rebirth, and I listened without fear. When she leaned forward, when her fangs pierced my neck, when the fire of transformation raced through my veins, I did not scream. I held on to her, and she held on to me, and together we endured. When I woke, the world was different. I could see in darkness. I could hear heartbeats miles away. I could feel Seraphina beside me, connected to me, part of me in ways I couldn't explain. You're here, I said. I'm here. She smiled, and this time there was no hunger in it. Only joy. We're here. Together. I rose and walked to the balcony, looking out at the dead city below. But it didn't feel dead anymore. It felt like home. Our home. What happens now? I asked. Seraphina came to stand beside me, slipping her hand into mine. Now we explore. We travel. We see the galaxy together, you and I. We find others, perhaps. Or we don't. We have eternity to decide. I looked at her, my vampire, my companion, my future, and smiled. Then let's not waste it. She laughed, a sound of pure joy that echoed across the empty city, and together we watched the twin moons set and the sun rise on our first day of forever. An alien vampire had sat beside my bed, waiting for my awakening. She had waited 3,000 years. And now, finally, she would never wait alone again.